Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. There's Lyre, which means we're back with Lyre once more. I'm just going to pick things up where we left them, with Ifor heading to bed. There'll be the death of you. Betrayal never comes from your enemies, but from those closest to your heart. And it always starts with trust. It's been almost a week since I've woken up. The weather gets colder and colder every day, and I find myself yearning for a warm bath every morning when I wake up. The past couple of days have been pretty relaxing, to say the least. I've had plenty of time to work on preparations for the ball. I've been taking it at a nice pace. Well, a pace that's nice for me at least. All I really have to do is make sure the resources are readily accessible and calculate the cost of everything. I mean, there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. I've been wandering around the castle with Lyre on my free time. Although I rarely allow myself free time, but every day I do take a break. He's been very good company the past couple of days, and he's been showing me around. We haven't gone into the city yet, but I've been able to explore most of the castle. Lyre has managed to cause my inner child to break out as we laugh and joke while walking through the halls. It's funny how he's supposed to be my guard, yet so far he's been my glorified guide. I do appreciate the assurance, though. Having someone there to keep me company and show me around is really nice. It's a good thing we get along. I'd hate for this whole thing to feel too professional. The other day he took me up to the tallest tower where you could see the entire city and fjord. His fur was blown in the wind and he had that dreamy look in his eyes. I've spoken to Raynar a couple of times. I'm not too sure how I should feel about him. He's very kind and seems to have his wits about him. There's still something very intimidating about him, though. At the beginning of every interaction with him, I start things out anxious, but then he manages to completely change the mood of the room. I guess he's just a big, friendly guy. I've run into Adris a few times during the week. He hasn't really paid me much mind aside from the occasional greeting, and I honestly prefer it that way. But with the few interactions that we've had where it would have been extremely awkward if we didn't talk, it felt more like an interrogation. He's constantly asking me questions about Erin. I have a feeling he doesn't talk with people much. I also feel like the more I avoid him, the better. And then there's Leif. I haven't seen him much. I passed him in the hallway once. We had a chat that wasn't too interesting. He's probably busy with his own work, which makes me feel like I've been too relaxed lately. I should probably crack down on my work as well. I get out of the bath and turn off the water. I don't feel as sticky this time since I only used a bit of soap. Walking over to one of the benches, I grab a towel and begin to dry myself off. I run the cloth down my body and between my legs, making sure I get all of the water off my body. It's very cold in here. I know that it's even colder out there. I dress myself and leave through the door. Immediately the cold hits my face and I start to speed walk back to my room. It's a crisp fall afternoon and the sun is casting a warm hue on the trees below. My footsteps echo down the hall as I get close to the door to my room. I reach the door. When I open it, I'm blasted with the warm air from my room. When I enter the room, Lyre is leaning back in one of the padded chairs, rocking it on its back legs. I close the door behind me and lean against it. There's no fire. How's it warm in here? Well... He leans forward in his chair. The castle is built above a hot spring. It's where we get the water for our plumbing. The water runs through pipes built into the walls and the heat rises up through the foundation. His demeanour slowly transitions into that of a happy child who's explaining something they're very interested in. It heats up the castle, which can be very nice during the colder seasons. It can be a real pain in the butt during the summer, though. My room will sometimes get so hot I have to sleep with the covers off and the windows open. I bet that's certainly a sight. That's actually really interesting and ingenious. Oh, thanks. It's also why there's so many plants growing within the castle. He gestures to all the leaves and vines on the walls. Well, during this time of year, plants like to slowly work their way inside the castle walls, seeking warmth. It's not really a problem for any of us, and Reynard does love his plants. Yeah, I've noticed that. My room alone is decorated with potted flowers. I've seen way more plants scattered throughout the castle's many corridors and rooms. What about the plants in pots outside? Well, I think those get brought inside once the weather becomes too harsh for them. That makes sense. We stand in silence for a moment before I walk over to my desk and sit down in the plush cushioned seat. I peruse the notes I've made on some of the arrangements for the food. Everything seems to be in order, so I set it off to the side and grab another document. I have a list of questions and instructions on this parchment for one of the servants to take down to the market. I need to work out the costs of the meat, and I also need to settle the payments for each butchery that provides. I take this document and set it in one of the trays outside to be collected. There's nobody there to deliver it, that's usually what I have to do. Someone will come by to pick it up. I sit back down and see Lyre is now standing up from his chair looking out the window. His tail, which I'm now able to see clearly without the bulky cape in the way, wags left and right. He turns to me and shakes his head, smirking. You work too much. I'm sorry, what? I don't think I work enough. How much have you gotten done so far? I've done a lot, but I still have a lot more to do. I mean, I already finished most of it, I'm going to be honest with myself. I just wanted to get it done ahead of time. You spent all morning slaving away that tiny desk of yours like a workaholic. Then you went to take a bath, and now you're back to work. You don't need to worry about this. It's not even your primary job while you're here. It hasn't started for a while. He reaches over and swipes my checklist off my desk. Hey! He turns away from me and skims over it for a hurried moment. Then turns around with a mocking look on his face. Well, most of this is already checked off. That's only one of the lists. He swipes the other list gracefully and holds it in front of his face. This one is almost complete too. He lets go of it and it floats down and lands on the other list. I look at him with a deadpan. I'm just trying to get it done and out the way. You're kissing up the king, Ifor. I know I'm not, I'm just doing my job. He lets out a laugh and throws up his paws in a defensive manner. Oh, relax, I only jest. I roll my eyes and give a defeated yet annoyed chuckle. He runs a paw through his neck fluff as if it were a human's beard. I sometimes forget how similar we are in terms of mannerisms. Well, I am going to go on a walk. He walks over to the door and looks to me. I'll lock the door, okay? I really don't think that's necessary. Well, just do it, please. Fine. He walks through the door and closes it behind him. Not wanting to upset him, I take the key off the desk and lock the door. I grab the checklist and mark off some of the tasks that I did. As I lean against the bed frame and scribble on the list, I notice something under the corner of my eye. There's a piece of parchment on the desk that's been drawn on. I pick it up and examine it. It's a drawing of a flower. It looks like the one on my desk. I assume Lyre drew this, given the signature. I didn't know he liked to draw. For something that he most likely scribbled while bored, this is very good. I place the drawer neatly back on the desk and walk over to my bed. I want to get back to work, but that bath made me feel very tired, and all I want to do is sleep. I throw myself onto the mattress and pull the blanket over me, slowly drifting off. The hallway floor feels cold beneath my feet. I'm outside of some room. It looks like the entrance to my room, but there's something different about it. Feels like some sort of twisted version of my room. There's no windows in the hall when I'm further into the castle. My hands don't feel like my hands either. I feel like a different person. I try the door, but it's locked. Doesn't seem to be any other doors in sight. With this, I begin to walk down the hall. There are no other doors from what I can see. The corridor just seems to stretch on endlessly. As I walk further and further down the dimly lit hall, I can feel chills running up and down my body. The temperature seems to drop with every step I take. My steps become a bit stumbled as the hallway starts to twist. I regain my balance and keep pushing forward. Am I going the wrong direction? Was I maybe supposed to go the other way? I don't really think turning back is the best idea, especially since I've come so far. There's no turning back. Finally, I reach the end of the long and twisted corridor. There's a large archway that leads to a set of spiral stairs. The look behind me in the hall is so twisted that further down the corridor, the floor is where the ceiling should be in relation to where I'm standing. Something else. A figure is walking towards me from where I came. They're very far off and I can't make out who they are from this distance. From my perspective, they're upside down. Or are they right side up? Either way, I'm curious and don't want to be alone in this odd situation, so I wait for them. After a few seconds, I realise that they aren't getting any closer. It's as if they're walking in place. Their presence starts to unnerve me, so I give up and step through the archway. I take my first step down the stairs, holding on to the banister. As I go on, I start to shake from the cold. My whole body is freezing. After it feels like I've descended about 3 floors, I come across a figure on the staircase. They're facing away from me with their hands behind their back. I want to move forward and approach the figure, but I'm frozen in place. My body wants to keep going. The figure moves. They begin to walk up the stairs backwards. First one foot, then the next. It's not like they're moving in reverse. The way they're moving looks like they're actually walking up the stairs backwards. I don't have much time to contemplate this, however, as I find myself stumbling up the stairs. I don't know what is going on, but I have a very bad feeling about this. The figure starts to pick up the pace. Each of their footsteps loosely slap against the slabs of stone. I miss one of the steps on my way up and trip, barely making it far enough to gain distance. I turn around just in time to see the figure bend backwards and loom over me. Bye. I jostled on the mattress, feeling like I was just jabbed in the sides. I hear a knock at the door and instantly mutter out a response in a confused and tired tone. Yes? Ivor, please open the damn door. I muster my strength and rise out of bed, trying to let all the blood rush to my head. All right, I'm coming. I straighten out my clothes and quickly fix my hair. The key is laying on the desk where I left it. I pick it up and unlock the door. Lyre stands in the doorway, panting slightly, trying to catch his breath. Hello, Kadaj here. Huh? The ambassador from Driss is here. How long has he been here? Well, about half an hour, I think. He's heading to the throne room with Raynar. I passed him in the hall while on my walk and he asked me to come and get you. How long was I asleep? You were asleep? Yeah. Well, I thought you were supposed to be working. I was working, I can't really think of an excuse, so I cut myself off and sigh in defeat while he smugly smirks at me. You're asleep for about 30 minutes, I'd wager. Tidy up and make yourself look a bit more presentable. I touched my forehead with my hand and realised I was sweating. Okay. That nightmare was incredibly bizarre. I've never really had cryptic nightmares like that before. I've been getting them a lot lately. Actually, they started after I got here. Why can't I go back to having nice dreams, like that one where I was flying? I grab a towel from the dresser next to my bed and dunk it into a bowl of cold water. I run it over my face and around my neck. I straighten out my clothes and fix my hair. How do I look? I look great. Nice. He gets the door and holds it open for me. Well, thank you. You're very welcome, my lord. Please don't. I was pleased with how good the cold water from that towel felt on my face. Stepping out in the cool chill of the afternoon makes me regret doing it, though. My face feels like it's going to freeze up and crack like porcelain. Now follow me, the throne room is this way. He leads me down a flight of stairs at the end of the hallway. Notice there are a lot of plants growing on the walls the further we go. I can hear leaves crunching underneath my shoes. We're further away from the outdoor hallways and getting closer to the inside of the castle. It's a lot warmer. I enjoy the feeling of the fire coming from the torches above. Lyre turns a corner, leading me down another hallway with a considerable amount of flowers and leaves adorning the walls. I assume the vitality fire coming from the torches is what's keeping these plants alive. I watch his large, poofy tail swish back and forth as he walks ahead of me. He has a funny way of walking where he puts a lot of the movement in his arms and shoulders. We arrive at a large archway and Lyre steps to the side, gesturing me to walk through. What I see next is the most marvellous room I've ever laid eyes on. It's not much in the terms of size, it feels like something out of a dream. Large gold-tinted windows line the walls, casting light onto the floor. The entire hall is teeming with life. Patches of grass and plants are bursting out of the foundation, and golden flowers grow off them like spots of sun. Their petals dance to the ground gracefully and lay in piles on the floor. The main attraction, however, is a peculiar sight at the very end of the hall. The ground has burst through the platform and a grassy patch has taken its place. On top of this, a large tree stump has been carved into a massive throne. Cushions line the seat and the golden crest of Tigran sits atop the back of the throne. I see Lyre's banners lining the walls, with the Ossian family crest upon them, and a large green rug leading up to the throne. Lyre and I begin to walk down the hall with me taking the lead. Raynar is standing with his arms behind his back at the end of the hall, speaking with who I assume to be Lord Kadash. Even from here I can tell he's a feline. The pointy ears and tail give it away. Can't name what species he is, though. Certainly not a species that I've seen, and I'm not very good with that sort of thing anyway. He's about my height, maybe just a bit taller, and he's wearing a sharp green outfit with a smug attitude. His fur pattern is very intricate, and his ears have fluffy tufts coming off the ends. The feature that stands out the most, however, is his eyes. They are large cat-like eyes, and they shine like emeralds. His tail lightly whips to and fro in a lazy manner. Raynar notices me approach and turns in my direction. There he is, our royal financial advisor. I give him a nod and smile as I approach. My apologies being a bit late, I was not very prepared. Lyre forced himself to hold back a laugh. Khaled speaks up. If anyone should be apologising for being late, it's me. I'm now close enough that he reaches out a paw. Please allow me to properly introduce myself. I am Lord Khaled of Rys. I take his paw and shake firmly. It's very nice to meet you, Lord Khaled. I'm Lord Ifor of Erin. This is Lyre Reed, Captain of the Royal Guard. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lord Ifor and Lyre Reed. King Raynar has mentioned you quite a bit. I look to Raynar and he looks to the two of us. All good things. It's true. We were just exchanging stories. I was just telling King Raynar the story of why I was delayed. What happened? He breathes in and begins to explain. We were making our way through the canyon pass when we were sat upon by bandits. My soldiers fought bravely, but we were out of our element and easily cornered. That sounds terrible. My men fought them off, but they stole our carriages and carts, riding off, leaving us stranded. There weren't too many casualties, fortunately. But we were stranded in the canyons with no food or water. It took us about a day and a half, but we finally came upon an outpost. I sent a letter to Driss and made sure the outpost would be compensated for the horses, carts and supplies we borrowed. After that we made it through the rest of the Canyon Pass and up through the Northern Run. He pauses and we let this revelation sink in. Well, something needs to be done about those bandit groups south of the Glade. It's bad enough they prey on travellers, but now they're directly attacking royal officials. He turns to Khaled and nods his head. Rest assured, I will do what I can to resolve this issue. My advisor and war minister is away on a sensitive diplomatic mission, and I estimate she will not return for a couple of weeks. If there's anything I can do to help her, please let me know. Oh, thank you. I believe that something like this would be conducted best with her here. The king's advisor? I was wondering why I hadn't met them yet. However, I trust that you'll be able to handle the task that I've given you with care. Of course, Your Majesty, that's why I'm here. Here it comes. You can just call me Raynar. Bingo. As you wish. Silence falls over the Golden Hall. Before he let it get too awkward, I speak up. An avalanche wiped out half my entourage, and I was wounded for a couple of days. Oh, really? Yes. That's a bit blunt. He's right, I should have went about that better. I'm not very good at telling stories. And my apologies, I haven't really had the chance to tell anyone yet. How's that? Well, when you're knocked out for 4 days, everyone seems to find out before you do. It takes me a moment, but Khaled lets out a quick, loud laugh. You're very clever. He gives me a curt nod and a smile. People always tell me I'm too clever for my own good. Don't worry, I think it's a good type of clever. Thanks. I give him a smile and turn to Raynar. So this is the throne room. Raynar turns in the direction of the throne, biting his lip. Yes, and this is my throne. It's a very handsome chair. Yes, but not as comfortable as one would think. Some say that it's the source of all life in the kingdom. It looks like it. I gesture around the room and out into the hall. Raynar chuckles. Yes, well, they also say that the water from deep under the ground is what gives this area life. The tree was cut ages ago, but still continues to thrive. And yet it will never reach its true potential. Idris announces his arrival by walking through a door behind the throne. I take it you finished your classes? Of course. Lord Kadaj, this is my son, Prince Adrius. Raynar gestures towards Adrius as he approaches us. Khaled strides forward and bows in front of Adrius. Prince Adrius, it is an honour to make your acquaintance. Adrius seems pleased with this display. Thank you, my lord. I take it your trip went smoothly? Not as smooth as one would have hoped. I ran into some trouble on the road. I can explain to you later if you like, but right now I need a hot bath and some rest. He walks up to me and grabs both my hands in his paws. It was a pleasure meeting you, my lords Ifor and Lyre. I can't say I've met many humans. Lyre gives a quick bow of acknowledgement. I can't say I've met many, caracals? Yes, forgive me. My knowledge on different species is a bit rusty. There's nothing to be forgiven. I'm a bit of a rare species. He turns and bows to Raynar and Adrius. It was very nice meeting you, Raynar and Adrius. I'll take my leave. Hopefully my guards haven't trashed my room yet. Adrius looks less than pleased at being referred to without his title. Khaled then walks down the hall and disappears through the archway, his tail whipping around the corner. Before anything else can happen, Adrius speaks up. Lord Ifor, I'd like to have a word with my father alone, if you don't mind. Raynar looks to his son with an inquisitive look. Of course. I'll be going now. Goodbye. Take care. I turn and walk down the hall with Lyre following behind me. I can hear Adrius mumbling something to Raynar as I round the corner. Even with the echoing halls, it's hard to make out what he's saying. We make our way a couple of steps down the corridor while Lyre speaks. He seems a bit eccentric. I take a seat on one of the benches nearby and rest my head against the back of the wall. I like him. Lyre sits down next to me, lifting his tail so he doesn't sit on it. I don't know. I don't trust him. He crosses his arms and looks at me. He seems like a man with motives. Is it Pixie's a cat? No, it's not Pixie's a cat. That's a bit rude, you know. He has an annoyed look on his face. I was only joking. I'm sorry. It's fine. I actually enjoy cats. They're good at making conversation. As we talk, I notice two guards walking down the hallway with their helmets under their shoulders. One is an eagle, looks to be in his late 30s. The other is an old, large bear with a beard. They're wearing the same type of armour as Lyre. When they get close enough, the bear nudges the eagle, looking in Lyle's direction. He whispers something in the eagle's ear, which makes the eagle chuckle. They get closer, so I decide to stare at the wall and pretend I'm lost in thought. I'd like to avoid drawing any attention. Lyre watches them as they pass. Gentlemen? Hey, Captain! They both say this in unison, one a bit more begrudgingly than the other. Lyre gives a nod, and they both continue moving down the hallway. I wonder what that was about. It seemed very forced. As I was saying. He bends over, resting an elbow on his knee, and begins to speak in a more hushed voice. You can't just blindly put your trust in people like him. I know that. I never said I trusted him. I just think he seems nice. What do you mean by that? Well, by what? People like him. It's not like that. I meant ambassadors and diplomats. I give him plenty of time to let those words settle in before talking. Lyre, I'm an ambassador. Yeah, but I mean, you're not... You don't... Oh, I trust you, though. And somehow I know you won't make me regret it. I'm taken aback by this and can't think of what to say at first. Lyre, Well, thank you for putting your trust in me. I'm just here to help. I won't let you down. He stands up and looks down at me. I know. I get up too and carry on with walking down the hallways. Lyre catches up to me and matches his pace with mine. Hey, I want to show you something really cool. What is it? You'll see. Follow me. I wanted to dispute this at first, but I shrugged my shoulders and followed him down the halls. We stroll down the corridor overlooking the courtyard. Overhead there's an exit that leads outside. Lyre picks up his pace, practically speed walking. He reaches the archway and turns around, standing there waiting for me to catch up. I reach the opening and look outside. Pretty, huh? The cold fall wind lightly whips my face, and I'm found staring into the beautiful garden. Smooth, round stones and berry bushes line the dirt path. Each berry is red and shining, almost as big as cherry tomatoes. The entire garden is surrounded by stone walls and large, thick trees. This place feels more natural than most gardens, like a serene sanctuary. Birds chirp and wind blows through the trees, causing leaves to dance to the ground. Toward the centre is a pond with a fruit tree. The fruit tree has round pink fruit growing on it. Some of the fruit has fallen to the ground next to the pond and at the base of the tree. The pond has a strange green glow to it, as if there are lights at the bottom. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, wow. Welcome to my favourite place in the kingdom. It's beautiful out here. It's also a really nice day. The weather usually fares better this time of day. He's right, the cold isn't that bad with the sunlight basking on my skin. I guess I should enjoy moments like this before the weather becomes too unbearable. Oh, yeah. We walk over to one of the berry bushes and he plucks one of them. Oh, try one of these. I take the berry and put it in my mouth. Take a bite out of it and instantly it bursts with flavour in my mouth. It's not necessarily the best taste, but it feels good. The berry was cold, which is good because I like cold fruit. That was pretty good. A smile breaks out on his face as he pops a berry in his mouth. Oh yeah, they're really good. Reinhardt absolutely loves them. Really? Oh yeah. Sometimes he'll take walks through the gardens and pick berries to bring up to his room in a basket. They grow really fast, so we always have plenty. Also, all the fruit in the garden is unaffected by winter, so we don't have to worry about them. That's actually really cool. Now that he mentions it, I'm wondering why the fruit was still on its trees. Especially since it snowed a couple of times while I was here. Of course, there wasn't enough snow to be bad. It snows much more up in the mountains. Thinking about the snow in the mountains causes me to think of the avalanche. I try to push out of my mind, but a horrible feeling begins to overwhelm me. What's wrong? It's nothing. My mind has just been racing lately. I don't know, Sometimes I catch myself talking to people. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm saying or what the other person is saying. Does that ever happen to you? Yeah, sometimes. But that's not what's bothering you, is it? How could you tell? I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm good at being able to tell when someone's lying. Is that why you don't like Hadaj? Well, I guess. The problem with him, though, is they couldn't tell whether he was lying or telling the truth. And in my opinion, that's worse. Now, stop changing the subject. Now, what's wrong? I clasp my hands together in front of me and continue to walk down the path at a slow pace. My thoughts have been going dark places recently. I've been trying to push them out, but they keep resurfacing. What are these thoughts about? Well, so much has happened recently. All of it happened while I was out, so it feels like it's happening too fast. By the time I'd woken up after being knocked out for so long, the survivors already left for Arran. I don't even know who died. Did I know them? Then my mind starts racing with more thoughts of what happened. I've never really been bothered by something like this before. I fiddle on the buttons on my vest as we walk. I don't know why, but death has never really bothered me that much. Sometimes I feel like I'm forcing myself to act shocked or sad. Growing up, people close to me or people I knew would die all the time. I guess that I'm just numb to it. Or I was. This time it's different. With each passing day, the guilt gets worse and worse, and I take a moment to catch my breath. I just miss home, I guess. As childish as that sounds. I throw in the berries to the side of the path in anger. Well, that's not childish. Yes, it is. I know he's right, but I just feel so stupid right now. Well, it's completely normal to be homesick. Do you have any family? A wife? Oh boy. No, I'm not married. Oh, really? I figured you would be one of the most desirable bachelors in your kingdom. I try with all my might not to get too flustered by this comment. Yes, well, if only I desired them as much as they desired me. We keep walking for a moment before he finally takes the hint. Oh. Oh! I had no idea. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I've never have guessed. He puts a paw on my shoulder, smiling. Yeah, most people don't. I want to change the subject, but he beats me to it. You might not like to hear this, because it's often the phrase most people use, but they're in a better place now. That was a tragic accident, and you shouldn't blame yourself for it. I don't blame myself for it. It just terrifies me thinking about it. Death has always been a pretty confusing subject for me. I mean, I grow up being taught to feel a certain way about something, but then after a while I become numb to those feelings. And then when those feelings really do take over, my entire mind just shuts down. Do you know what I mean? I can kind of understand. He runs his paw through his neck fluff again. Thanks for listening. I'd rather not talk about it anymore. We step off the path and stroll over the pond underneath the fruit tree. I sit down in the grass and Lyre walks up to the tree. He picks 2 ripe fruits from the branches and walks back over to where I'm sitting. He throws me a fruit which I catch clumsily. Its skin is a bit tough, and the hole where the stem was is dripping with a sticky substance. It's gone over my right hand, but I ignore it. He takes a seat on the tree stump in front of me with an understanding smile on his face. Raynar can keep his weird chair. This is my throne. He then takes a large bite out of the bottom of the fruit, getting juice all over his mouth in the process. So. Yes? You prefer the company of men? Oh, so that's why you got that little chat we just had. I jabbed his leg with my foot. Hey, you're the one who said you didn't want to talk about the avalanche anymore. Hey, can you blame me for being curious? I fold my hands on my lap and look down at the pond water. I guess I can't. Sorry, I just have a habit of dropping out information like a bomb. I'm not too open about it, but I also don't try to hide it. And you most likely won't have to. Most people in Lyre are perfectly fine with it. Yeah, I heard. I don't know. I've just never really been interested in women. Neither have I. He shuffles his feet on the ground and looks at the fruit in his paws. Wait, really? Yeah. I mean, growing up I thought I liked girls, but as I got a bit older, I realised that I didn't. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I can't believe this is happening. I'm really happy to hear this, but also super nervous. Does he think I'm trying to make a move on him? Is he making a move on me? My mind spirals out of control for a brief moment. Well, it's been a problem for me in the past, but it doesn't bother me that much anymore. Yeah, I try not to let it bother me either. There's a long pause. Seems like the both of us don't know whether to continue on this topic or change the subject. I hold up my fruit that he gave me. What is this? Oh, that's a dragon apricot. They're really sweet and they have a lot of juice. Yeah, I can tell. I point to his muzzle, which confuses him for a second. He goes to lick it off, but completely misses. He then sticks his tongue out at me. They say your tongue orange. I chuckle at his silly display and he laughs too. He's right, they do turn your tongue orange. I take a bite into mine and my mouth bursts with flavour. I don't really enjoy the texture that much, but its pros outweigh the cons. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, just once you have the seed in the middle. I look down and sure if there's a seed exposed from my bite. We continue to eat and talk as the sun slowly sets over the mountains. After a while we head inside the castle and make our way back to my room. I have a question. Well, ask away. Why aren't you wearing your armour? Oh. Well, today's my 23rd birthday. I got the day off. Why didn't you tell me? Well, 'cause it's not really that important to me. I wanted to spend the day with you without it being too extra. I wouldn't spend all morning doing work if I knew that it was your birthday. Ivor, honestly, it's fine. I enjoyed being able to relax. Plus that armour is a real pain in the shoulders. He rolls his shoulders back and smiles. Get on the topic of Lyle's armour causes me to remember those guards we saw outside the throne room. Hey, Lyle. Yes, Ivor? Do you remember those two guards whispering about us in the hallway? He takes a moment to answer. Oh, yes. What do you think they were talking about? Ivor, I think they were talking about me. I think that I'm your lackey. He looks down the ground with a frown. But you're not. You were just assigned to be my guard. Well, it's a bit confusing, though, don't you think? The captain of the Royal Guard was assigned to guard an ambassador when he should be guarding the king. Raynar appointed me as captain for certain reasons that he feels he doesn't need to justify. And the other guards are confused by it. Well, what do you think? He picks a leaf off one of the vines and examines it. Oh, I trust our king's judgment. He's very wise and has plenty of experience. I believe that he chose me for a reason. My ability to command, my mentality, my youth, whatever it may be. And he assigned me to you because... well, I don't know. There are other guards with much more experience who can protect the king and the prince. I like being your guard. He looks down at me with a smile. I like it too. We arrive at the door to my room and Lyle opens it. Ivor. Yes? I know you're pretty open about it, but I won't tell anyone about what we talked about earlier. Oh, thanks. I don't really care if you do, though. Okay, just can you promise me something? Sure. Well, please don't tell anyone what I said. Of course. Oh, thank you. I step inside and lean against the doorway. Good night, Lyle. Good night. He takes off down the hall at a slow pace. As he walks down the hall, I hear him yell back to me. Don't forget to lock the door. I know. I yell back to him. Happy birthday. He turns around, ears red, giving a shy smile. Thanks. He walks off with his tail wagging. I close the door behind me, lock it and take off my clothes. The blankets on my bed are nice and warm due to the natural heat. I slowly drift off to sleep, thinking about Lyle. About a dozen days passed and I finally finished getting everything ready for the winter solstice. A couple of restless nights and a few bottles of wine seemed to do the trick. Lyle keeping me company also helped, even if he spent most of his time out in the hall. I have to attend these boring meetings, though. The only good thing to come out of them are my conversations with Raynar once the meetings are done. He's grown quite fond of me over the past few days. I don't know why he likes me so much. He treats Lord Kadaj and I the same professionally, but he treats me like a friend. Then there's Lyle. Lately I think he's been distancing himself from me. I see him when he speaks of that little revelation that occurred. It's crossed my mind multiple times as well. I can't be thankful for this little bit of space that's been provided. True, I enjoy his company, but I feel I needed some time to myself in order to assess my thoughts. And I finally come to a conclusion. I think I'm in love with him. Call it what you will, but it's the closest I've ever gotten to feeling like I'm in love with someone. Childhood crushes and young love don't compare to this at all. It feels wrong considering I've only been here for a while, but every time I'm around him my chest twists into knots and I feel all warm inside. Every day I wake up and he's the first thing on my mind. His personality, those big eyes, that beautiful dark coat of fur and a bushy tail. Those strong muscular arms and that massive heart. I get up from my desk to go and answer the door. I don't know. Maybe it's not love. My emotions all over the place, and I need to be more responsible. It's fine to be emotional though, right? Before I can grab the handle, I hear a weird scratching noise. It's coming from the peephole. I open the small door and stare through the opening. On the other side is Lyre, sticking his muzzle up to the opening. Hi. Hi. Can I come in? I have to hold back my laughter. Opening the door. Oh, okay. I open the door to let him in as he ducks under the doorway. I can't take it anymore and I break into a fit of wheezy chuckles. He kind of recoils and gets a little bit flustered, which makes me laugh even more. What is it? It's nothing. No. You know exactly what you did. Oh, I know, I was trying to be funny. And you succeeded. I just had a bit of a late response. Yeah. I wipe a tear from my eye and pull my hair back and retie it behind my head while walking back to my desk. Well, that's a nice icebreaker, I guess. Well, you'd be happy to know I just finished getting everything ready for the ball. Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, I just have to bring these payments to the bakery in the village. They're baking hundreds of mini pastries along with providing baked goods for the village festival. Wait, you're not going to have a servant do that? Well, I wanted to bring it myself. I think they deserve to have this delivered in person, considering the hard work they've been doing. I hold up the thick envelope. Today's the first day all week where it's not freezing cold. I feel like now that I have the free time, I can go and see the village. All right. Really? Yeah, I don't see why not. You don't have to ask me for permission, though. I know, just wanted a second opinion. Just wanted to make sure it was a good idea. Besides, I'm pretty sure I have nothing else going on today. I think to myself for a moment about how the winter solstice is only a few days away. Time flies when you're busy, I guess. Plus, I've got a lot on my mind. I'm actually free for the rest of the week if what I have to go off is true. Well, that's good to hear. I'm actually a little excited to be able to show you around the town square. The village actually has a lot of history to it. I can imagine it now. A bustling town square with dozens of little shops and homes lining the street. I can honestly barely contain my excitement. I sure hope it does. I'll go get ready. I make my way across the room and dress myself in clothing that better suits going outside. It's very cold out and I don't want to freeze. Lyre is standing on the far side of the room. Is he watching me get dressed? Well, I pull up my trousers, I turn my head to look in his direction. I think I see him quickly avert his gaze. He's not even staring at anything, he's just staring at the wall. I finish putting on my outfit and wrap the scarf around my neck. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, okay. He quickly pads across the room and opens the door while I grab the envelope off the desk. We step out of the hallway together and a brisk chill hits my face. The afternoon sunlight envelops me for a moment, making the cold temperature a little more bearable. Lyle takes the key off his keyring and locks the door behind us. There are some things I would like to take care of in the village today, if you don't mind. Not at all. I mean, it should only take a few minutes. I shouldn't interfere with anything. Lyle, it's fine. Right, sorry. Remember, I'm not some child that needs to be taken care of. We make our way down the hallway with me rubbing my hand along the windowsill. He walks by my side, rubbing his paws together in a sheepish way. What is it that you wanted to do? He perks up and leans forward, showing me the sword on his back. I want to take this to the smith. I need to get it treated. He slides off his back sheath and shows me the blade. It does look like it could use a good polish. Yeah, the blade's a bit dull. I like to keep her in good condition, even though I don't get to use her much. When do you get to use your sword? I most only practice combat in the training yard. The training dummies really do a number on her edge. We reach a fork in the hallway and Lyre takes the lead. This way. We traverse down a hallway I haven't been to before. Feels familiar though. So, what is her name? I see his mouth curl, clearly too embarrassed to reveal such information. Her name is Winter. That's a cool name. And no, that pun was not intended. Thanks. I chose that name because just like this sword, Winter can be cold, dangerous, and long. That's actually very poetic. That's very clever. I can hear the tone of surprise in your voice, Ivor. No, you cannot. He lets out a hearty laugh that echoes up and down the halls. I'm just messing with you. We reach the end of the hallway. There's a small door. This feels too familiar. Have I been here before? Maybe this was one of the dead ends Lyre accidentally led me down one of our many tours. Lyre takes a key and unlocks the door, revealing a spiral staircase. I'm instantly flooded with déjà vu. Where does this lead? The village. People usually leave the castle through here. He pauses for a moment in the doorway, then turns and speaks. No, but sometimes it's best to use one of these exits instead of the main gates. Why is that? Oh, that's nothing. Honestly, this way is just faster. It leads straight to the village and there's no unnecessary checkpoints like at the main gate. He starts to descend the staircase and I follow him. How far down does this go? Well, not too far. It's just a tunnel that leads to an exit in the village. These are supposed to be used in case anyone needs to escape the castle during a siege, but most of the diplomats and nobles like to use them to leave the castle without drawing attention. And are we trying not to draw attention? We're going to leave through the main gate, we can. This way it's faster, though. No, this is fine. It's actually a bit exciting. I haven't anything this sneaky or exciting in a while. Oh, I'm glad you think so. It's going to get really dark once we reach the tunnel. Humans can't see well in the dark, can they? No, we can't. Well, that's okay. I've almost perfect vision in the dark, so I can help you. It's not a dangerous path at all. Very spacious and the ground is flat. I'm putting my trust in you, but I swear if I slip and hit my head, you'd better hope I get amnesia. Ha, you'll be fine. We reach the bottom of the stairs and I can barely see a thing. Each step I take becomes more cautious, suddenly I feel something brush up against my hand. Ivor, take my paw. I feel the metallic claws and soft leather of his glove wrap around my palm. His paws are very large and warm. They have a firm but gentle grip and feel articulate. These truly are an artist's hands. Or artist's paws. Both with the pen and the sword. I wish I could tell him how I feel, but I'm just so nervous. All these little scenarios run through my head and I'm afraid I'll mess things up. I feel so silly. Pulls me forward and we begin to walk down the tunnel. I really hope they can't see me blushing. Our footsteps echo up and down the tunnel, reverberating off the walls. His are quieter than mine because my shoes are much louder than his padded feet. There's a light at the end and I can see. Looks like it's coming from a trapdoor. We eventually reach a small slit of light and I hear the noise of Lyle's keys jingling. He unlocks the trapdoor and pushes it open. The light is blinding, but I can really see the stairs. Lyre steps to the side and I make my way up. I emerge into a side alley and just around the corner is something I've been longing to see for a long time. Just like how I imagined it would be. I mean, I'd seen most of it in the high towers in the castle, but it's more beautiful up close. People are bustling about their daily business, going about their routine. Children seen holding their mother's paws while they shop for groceries, and merchants conducting business outside of their shops. Horse-drawn carts make their way down the paved roads, past each other in a neat orderly fashion, circling around the fountain. The buildings are small and neat, stacked side by side and their walls are painted with a cream colour. The roof of each building shines in different shades of green and blue, the morning frost reflecting the sun off each shingle in a majestic way. Flowers line the windows of some of the buildings, and leaves from the trees skate across the ground. Pipes run up and down the walls of each little shop and home, with smoke drifting out of the chimney caps into the sky. Lyre finishes locking up the trapdoor and joins me by my side with his paws on his hips. He's taking this in too. There's an entrance underneath the bridge up ahead, and I can see the ships in the harbour. Their sails are rolled up and the masts pierce into the sky like spears. I could see the waters from the castle, and Luna's fjord is glistening with the morning light. I wonder if we'll be able to go down to the harbour. If I remember correctly, the bakery should be in the town square. So I'm looking around with the bakery, my eye catches something I didn't pay much attention to before. The fountain in the centre of the town square has a statue on it that seems familiar. It's a doe, standing atop a pillar with grace and elegance. Her clothes are heavy and it looks like she's draped in several garments of silk and cotton. Her eyes are closed and her expression looks understanding. There seems to be an aura of sadness about her. On her head is a tiara with a triangular gem hanging off the tip. Crystal clear water flows out of the base of the fountain and glows in the light of the sun. Lyle's already walking towards a building where I can hear the clang of metal when he stops to see why I'm not following. I walk over to the fountain and notice a golden plaque. There's an inscription on it which I read out loud to myself. In honour of Queen Elena Ossian. Loving Mother. Dutiful Queen. Lyre walks up beside me, staring up at the statue. This is Queen Elena Ossian, Raynar's late wife. What happened to her? He scrunches up his snout and shakes his head slowly. She died about 10 years ago. His shoulders raised tensely, he sinks into his neck fluff a little bit. That's a shame. I think he probably feels it's not his place to talk about this. Was she a good queen? He relaxes a bit and looks up at the statue again. I look as well, cannot help but think of my own queen back in Erin. Oh, the best. For a moment the only noise I can hear is the sound of the water trickling onto the surface of the pool. I don't doubt it. Do you think Raynar and Idris miss her? This time his answer is instant. With all their hearts, I'm sure. He gives a slight pause to his sentence, letting the words linger. Come on, let's go to the forge. I've got a friend I want you to meet. He takes the lead, and I'm not surprised to see villagers part to let us past. They probably recognise Lyle's armour and immediately know that someone important must be making their way through the village. Now that I think about it, I've been getting a lot of stares. Then following Lyle, I see a vixen and a badger look at me and whisper to each other. The vixen says something that flusters the badger. She lightly shoves her, making the fox laugh even more. A child holding their mother's paw calls out to her, pointing at me. I'm not used to getting this much attention. I find myself awkwardly smiling at anybody who gives it to me. I'm not really looking where I'm going and accidentally step on Lyle's tail. Gah! I lift my foot up, realising my mistake, and he tumbles forward slightly. I can hear a couple of bystanders chuckle to themselves at my clumsiness. My face is properly as red as a tomato. He turns around, looking behind him, and wags his tail a bit to get it straightened out. Please watch your step, Ifor. It took me a very long time to get my tail to look this nice. Yeah, sorry, Lyle. He keeps walking and stops outside of a tall building. Some baskets outside stacked up against the wall and the rug on the floor. You can hear the clang of metal from inside and the smell of coal burning. Lyle lifts the tarp in the doorway and gestures for me to walk through. I step into the doorway, muttering a thanks to him, still embarrassed about stepping on his tail like a clumsy fool. We step into a dim room lit by a large furnace. It's warm in here. The tarp and lack of windows does a good job of keeping the heat inside. There are swords lined up against a rack and horseshoes on the wall. I see an array of tools scattered about and a rack with some small hammers neatly on display. It smells like hard work in here. Eden, are you in? I hear a gruff voice come from the door off to the side.
Reed, is that you? Yeah, just a second. Getting a new hammer from the back.
I hear some clattering shortly after a large bear appears in the doorway. He's wearing a black apron and has a hammer slung over his shoulder.
Well, it's been a while, Reed. What do you need done this time?
His eyes fall on me.
Well, and who's this? This is Ivor. Lord Ivor.
He says this in a proud tone. Before I can read him, Eden gives a slight bow and looks up.
Well, it's a right pleasure to meet you, Lord Ivor.
The bow is something I'm still getting used to. You can just call me Ivor if you want. I extend a hand and he takes it gently. His paws are huge and a bit dirty. I'm glad I'm wearing gloves. He shakes my hand lightly as if he were dealing with a small child.
Well, that's why you want to be called Ivor. He's travelled here from Erin to help with diplomatic relations. Well, you don't get a lot of people from Erin around these parts. Especially during this time of year. Too cold for him.
It does get a bit too cold for my comfort.
Haha, don't worry. At night, once those vitality lanterns are lit, they'll warm up the whole village. Keeps the snow at bay, too.
He turns to Lyre with a snarky grin.
Do you need your sword fixed again?
Lyre blushes and grips the handle of his sword.
I know, I just need it sharpened. She's feeling a bit dull. I do it myself, but nobody does it better than you. Hey, you got that right.
He hoists the hammer higher, adjusting it on his shoulder.
Well, Eckrite steel is a quality material, so I'll be able to have it done within the hour. You want it polished too? I'll give it the full treatment for an extra cost. Oh, really? Sure, I'm not busy. I need something to do to make the time pass by faster. These orders won't be picked up until later today, so the past hour I've just been cleaning up my workspace. Well, I hate cleanings. I'll do anything to distract myself.
Lyle's tail is wagging. I can feel his excitement radiating off him.
Oh, that'd be great.
Lyle gives his sword to Eden and he sets it on the table.
I'll be back in a bit to pick her up.
He starts walking towards the door.
It was nice seeing you, Ed. The Castle Forge has nothing on this place. Well, nice seeing you too, buddy. It was great meeting you, Ivor.
Lyle lifts the tarp of the door and holds it open for me. A chilly breeze blows into the room and envelops the back of my head as I wave back to Eden. It was a pleasure to meet you too. As we leave the forge, we're going to leave it here for now. A slightly shorter video than I might normally do. But it's been a crazy busy week again. Of course, we'll definitely be returning back to the village square, probably now in May. It's early April as I'm recording this, or we might do it later this month. We'll see how things are going with the schedule. I do have some gaps so far this month. There, hope you enjoyed it, and as I usually say at this point, thanks to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. I very much appreciate you. And my top tier patrons are Marcus, Evan King, Mohley, Cindy Dragowolf, Kopi, Spiderling, Grizz, Popot, Dissonance, Brandon Bradford, Anubis Silverwind, Ida Corval, Tiger Cub, Gunnar Muller, Ryan Hall, Bastion, Lark Huskerton, Mesuksu, Cobras Visser, Kartek, and Burnt Toast. Oh, thanks always to them for being so supportive in helping me make these videos. I'd probably still do it without the Patreon, but it's very nice that I get some help with them, especially when things go wrong. Hopefully they won't for a while. Everything's good with my computer right now and the microphone. So I'm going to not be doing any weekday videos. If last week's anything to go by, I'm going to be super busy again next week in work. Yes, I do have a full-time job as well as these, so that's why I sometimes don't do midweek ones. But there'll definitely be a weekend one coming up, and next weekend we're returning to the Lands of Fire. So we'll be carrying on with that story. And then there's also some more Remember the Flowers and Tennis Ace scheduled for this month. And it's possible we might get some archers in there as well at some point. We'll have to see what happens with that. Let's give it a couple of weeks and I might slip a weekday video in for you all. So a little extra video for that. That's really all I have to say for that. Once again, I'm looking at the time and I have to get ready for Marchman as soon as we get to an exciting point. We will find out who's the best boy of each division tonight. So I'll be involved in that in about an hour, but probably by the time this comes up, you'll have been watching that. If you haven't, go and check out Dirk the Red Panda's channel for all that, and also check out Ball and Wolf's channel for even more visual novels. And they both do a great job with those ones. And they're very good friends of mine, so I like to give them a quick plug there. But from me for now, and from Lyle and Ivor, bye for now.